So once again, with the start of a new month brings a new throwback rotation format. This time we're playing in Renascent Chronicles. This was a format that I didn't get to play before, so now I guess I'm looking at it for the first time. And for my first video of the format, of course, we are going to be playing Sword, the legendary sword deck that gave people nightmares. Retreat Sword, Bayleon, Mistolina, Bayleon Sword. I don't really know what it's called, but anyway, the point is that it's a very strong deck with a very high potential to high roll people very early on. This is one of the two strong decks in the meta, apparently, is what I've been told. So of course we're going to be starting off with it. So far I've been having great success with it. I finished like half my GM climb using it. I'm pretty close to GM, I think, at this point. So yeah, I think it's time to make a video on it. So let's look at the deck list that I'm running for today. So this is the list that we're running for today. Honestly, I just took it off the tournament winning list page. I didn't like edit it or anything. The ratios I think were probably like optimized and researched when this was the actual meta, so I'm assuming that pretty reliable. So far I haven't had any problems with it either, so I've just been playing with it. This deck has I guess the main star of the show is Mistolina and Bayleon. This card is very strong. Storm and Ward for 6 in cost, and then if you on fanfare, you deal 5 damage to a random enemy follower, and if there's any amulets in your hand, you can discard it to gain +2/+1. And if it's a tree, then you can recover 3 play points. This card is already pretty strong on its own, being a tree cost like 6/7 on turn 6 is pretty strong. But other than that, we also have Dramatic Retreat, which is the other major piece of what makes this deck a menace. Dramatic Retreat, banish your ally follower, put a copy of it into your deck and change its cost to 0 and then draw 2 cards. By making Mistolina and Bayleon cost 0, you can refund 3 play points when you play it. So with this kind of looping strategy, you can set up OTKs or just like burst out major amounts of storm damage even if you don't manage the OTK. The rest of the cards are just meant to get you there with Arm Butler to draw commanders, which is gonna draw you Mistolina and Bayleon guaranteed. A bunch of Swordcraft tutors like Sunny Day Encounters and Pompous Summons to help you draw, and then Proven Methodology always guarantees Arm Butler, which allows you to use Arm Butler's AoE as well as draw Mistolina off him after that. Yeah, this is the deck list we're running for today. Let's look at some games. Our first game for today is gonna be against Shadow, the other meta threat of the current expansion, I guess. It plays quite differently from Sword. Usually this is considered a bit of a bad matchup, but I mean, this deck can win basically any matchup with a high enough roll, so that's what we're doing. Pick the cards that generally are good to keep are the 1-cost tutors. Proven Methodology is quite good to keep as well. Ramya going second is of course pretty standard. Other than that, it's a bit questionable. Here I chose to keep Dramatic Retreat. Against Shadow, I sort of think it's hard to win without a high roll, so I thought keeping Dramatic Retreat here and just aiming the high roll is probably fine. I keep Arm Butler as well for the same reason, just to maximize the reliability. Unfortunately, I get immediately punished here by drawing 2 copies of Proven Methodology. And I draw my last Arm Butler as well, so my Proven Methodologies are now bricks. A pretty terrible opening, but we do have Dramatic Retreat in hand. We do have ways to draw Mistolina and Bayleon, so depending on what we draw in the next few turns, we can definitely still come out on top quite easily. This Ominous Tyrant here we have to keep watch out for because Lurching Corpse has the last words to destroy it, one of our followers, so if Bayleon accidentally destroys the Lurching Corpse, we will be in trouble here. But that's not currently an issue, so we'll just go ahead and use Ramiel here to try to ramp. Ramping is very strong in this deck because turn 6 Mistolina and Bayleon. Go ahead and get rid of the Celeste Omega here before her last words reanimates 2, so before my opponent has any 2-cost destroyed, we can get rid of Celeste Omega to slow down their last words count by at least a little bit. There's their Link Staff Necromancer here, which will the Evo face. Currently we do see we have trees. We have a tree in hand at least with Dramatic Retreat. Our hand is looking quite good. We can probably like aim to go for a lethal here. I evolved Mistolina and Bayleon here and just hit face just to chip enough damage so next turn. I'm looking to finish next turn basically, because honestly I don't think I'm making it further than that. Since we do pick out Sunny Day Encounters, we're gonna go ahead and draw into our deck to pick out all our followers. We want to play our spells now because there is a pretty high likelihood that they'll just slam Celeste Omega next turn, which we do want to avoid. There it is. But unfortunately, we do have to play with the Lurching Corpse Gacha here. It's a bit annoying and they do hit me in the face here, so I'm gonna die next turn, so I do have to finish this turn. Go ahead and play Arm Butler here to get rid of the Lurching Corpse first. Unfortunately, my opponent doesn't have any other. If you look at the destroyed followers, only 2 costs is Lurching Corpse, so if my Bayleon hits exactly Celeste Omega into the Lurching Corpse with the second Bayleon, then I can lose here. I do hit the Celeste Omega unfortunately, but thankfully this time we don't hit the Lurching Corpse, so we do manage to get lethal here. So this is pretty standard gameplay for this deck, I guess. Let's move on to the next game. The next game here will be against Rune, and this time we are going first. Rune has 2 decks, Spell Boost and Mysteria. Both of them function somewhat comparably, although probably a bit different, but yeah. Sunny Day Encounter is great to have early game. Since we do have a bunch of tutors here, keeping Dramatic Retreat's probably fine. And we do have the proven methodology to curve into. I didn't play Sunny Day Encounters on turn 1 because I didn't have a Natura card. In this case, we actually do want to generate the tree, so keeping the Sunny Day Encounters for until we find a Natura card is fine. My opponent will drop the Awakened Robot here. Go ahead and use Arm Butler to clear that. Depending on matchup, you probably want to save Arm Butler for a wider board, but against Rune, I don't think it's that necessary. Plus, we do have Brothers United as well for answering followers anyway, so I think that's fine. We get Mistolina and Bayleon out of the deck so we can draw other cards that aren't Mistolina and Bayleon first. So this time we just want to thin our deck of our Swordcraft followers so that future tutors can guarantee Mistolina and Bayleon that cost 0 that we return with Dramatic Retreat, so we're looking towards that. Opponent plays the Magical Gunslinger. This is probably not Galboost or Mysteria. It seems like some kind of evil deck. Mainly I chose this game because I wanted to show what this deck looks like when it high rolls, so it's not going to be the most meta deck, but you know, it's whatever. Go ahead and play with Arm Butler here, pick out our last Mistolina and Bayleon. Now our Pompous Summons is guaranteed to draw our 0-cost Mistolina and Bayleon here because we've drawn all our sword followers. And we do have Dramatic Retreats, 2 of them in fact, so this is actually a recipe for a turn 6 OTK, so for that. One does clear my board, summon a bunch of followers as well. We did mill a card there, but honestly it's probably fine. We don't really need anything else besides more tutors anyway. We can go ahead and play the Mistolina and Bayleon here, just evo. I evo here in case I don't get enough to finish fully OTK. I want to probably chip as much damage here to finish their next turn. Fortunately, I do draw second Pompous Summon, so this will be lethal, so we go ahead and drop the Mistolina and Bayleon here. Them in the face again, and then toss it back with Dramatic Retreat once again. And then with Pompous Summons we can draw it again. And then we can toss another Great Tree for a nice lethal. This is 20 damage OTK. My opponent obviously didn't have 20 health, but it would have been OTK from full, so that's it for this game. Let's move on to the next one. Our final game for today will be against Porto, and this time we are going first. You won't see a mirror match example in this, and it's because the mirror match is largely just whoever draws better wins. That's it. It's like a pretty unfun mirror match to play, so don't really bother showing that. We just look for our followers. We could play Sunny Day Encounters to draw Mistolina and Bayleon. I was hoping for the Arm Butler, of course. Drawing the Butler is generally more valuable because the Butler translates into Mistolina and Bayleon, so you do thin your deck out more that way. But Butler does have its use later on as well, because Butler can draw your Mistolina and Bayleon after it's shuffled back in with Dramatic Retreat. So consider that. Here we just go ahead and open up our Nature's Futures and then just fuse our excess trees into Great Mother's Embrace so we don't mill. And we have Arm Butler to draw our last Mistolina and Bayleon as well, so we'll look towards that. There's the Slouse from my opponent. We don't really care what effect that gives us at this point, so here it summons the Analyzing Artifact. We can just get rid of it with Arm Butler anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Then we play Pompous Summons to draw our last Arm Butler so that now we have no more sword followers in our deck. This does two things. First, it makes it so that after we dramatic retreat Mistolina and Bayleon back into the deck, it guarantees them. And the second thing it does is that it helps us find cards that aren't our sword followers, especially dramatic retreat, since we don't have a way to tutor that. I'm sure we do pick up proven methodology here, which is just a break at this point, so we just go ahead and toss it out of our hands. I don't really need it. We go ahead and trade the Ramia. We don't see dramatic retreat, so we might be forced to play a slower game this time, so we go ahead and just play slow here. It's worth noting though, our hand will cost one more next turn. I was actually planning to play Mistolina and Bayleon this turn. I didn't really, but I forgot that the Wheel of Misfortune increased the cost of cards in my hand. That is fine though, we can go ahead and use Great Mother's Embrace. Thankfully, we do have a 2020, like there are two options to banish that would have been good here, but thankfully we do get to banish the ward here, so we keep our Radar Magna, which is quite nice. For Mega Enforcer, we do pick up Dramatic Retreat as well, which is also very good. And with Sunday Day Encounters to draw it back. It's the Ramia, which is quite annoying, fortunately, because Mistolina and Bayleon's effect can't get rid of Ramia. We don't generally have good ways to clear Ramia in general in this deck, which is a bit of a bottleneck. We got another Dramatic Retreat here, so let's go ahead and play the Mistolina and Bayleon here. Unfortunately, we do hit the Ramia here, which is quite useless. And we use Dramatic Retreat to toss Mistolina and Bayleon back into the deck. Draw it again. I don't think I have OTK here, but we do want to try to chip them down. Again, we can use Dramatic Retreat actually and can get OTK that way, so that might happen. We pick up Sunday Day Encounters thankfully, so this will be OTK as well. So that's this. You can see this deck is very ridiculous. We can kill through some very sturdy things with enough luck. We can go ahead and play one more Mistolina and Bayleon that we have in hand here. So that's it for this game as well, I guess. So those are all the games I have for you today. Hopefully it gave you some idea of how this deck works. It's a little bit daunting to pick up because of its very combo heavy nature, but I think after you play it for a bit you get the hang of it and it becomes quite approachable to play. It's also the cheaper of the two meta decks with only 9 legendaries compared to whatever is going on in Last Word's Shadow, so there's that. So you can consider playing this if you want. It's a bit of luck based, but I mean there's a decent amount of consistency. The only thing that's hard to find is Dramatic Retreat generally, so yeah, if you want to play this deck to Grandmaster or something, I would recommend it. It's pretty strong. But yeah, that's it for today. See you next time. Bye bye.